Here in the garage again. Our forks. Jack Blake, Husky, KTM, whatever. It's a good idea to get in the habit of just relieving some of the air pressure that builds up in your forks. Okay? And the air pressure builds up in your forks. A lot of times builds up air, it can create an issue where, and then you have leaky fork seals. Leaky fork seals are such a pain in the butt. Leaky fork seals are also related to dirt. We'll get to that in a minute. But one of the attributes is just simply having too much air in your fork. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of relieving some of the air in your fork as much as possible. Most WTP forks is a fill head screwdriver. And just go out real slow. Real slow to where you hear a little bit of air release. You're going out, but you're holding a little bit of pressure down on the screw, because if there is pressure behind it, you don't want to blow it out and take off. I've seen that many times where it's blown out, taken off, and then you can't find the screw. So then you have an issue. So you're going out real slow to relieve some of that pressure. Relieving that pressure, less likely to have blown fork seals. But also, a lot of times, you'll have a lot of rebound in your fork, and it's related to the air pressure that's building up in your forks as well. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of checking your fork bleeders as much as possible. Another thing is simply just taking, depending on how much mud you ride in, but at least once a month or so, taking the dust cover, the initial dust cover on the forks, taking a flathead screwdriver, as I'm doing here, and I'm struggling with it. Knocking it down some, pulling it out of the way, and the idea is you want to take some contact cleaner. To be honest with you, I'd rather have a lubricant. Contact cleaner, in my opinion, you got to be careful, because a lot of times, depending on what contact cleaner it is and what it is, it will affect seals, bushings, bearings, mostly rubber-related issues like seals, stuff like that. You got to be careful when it comes into contact, because it'll O-ring, stuff like that. It'll create issues. They'll start to swell. I like to use a lubricant, but basically what I'm trying to do is I knocked the initial dust cover down, pushing it down out of the way, and then I'm going to spray some. In this case, it's all in one. If I can get some out of the can, onto the rag, not in there essentially. And I'm just going to wipe the first initial part, just trying to get it as clean as possible. Yeah, the thing is, I'm trying to get all the dirt that gets past the dust cover against the seal out of there, because once it gets past the seal, it's eventually going to get through the seal and then create an issue to where you have leaky fork seals. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of cleaning up in there. Also, once the seal is pushed down, a lot of the dirt will sit in the dust cover or the dust seal itself. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of wiping that dust seal out. Pushing it all the way down out of the way, wiping all the excess dirt that's left behind, and then wiping the dust seal out as well. It's all the little precautions that you take that down the road attribute to you having a good functioning motorcycle that doesn't have issues, in this case leaking fork seals that are such a pain in the butt. So this is Rich Lafferty with Rich Lafferty Riding Schools. This is a tip on how to have better performance out of your forks.